Mr Deputy Speaker, the first thing I would say is, and I think without fear of repetition, where are the official opposition? Where are they? You know, and we saw this last week, because when we were talking about educational opportunities for deprived children, they were absent. They sit there and they carp and they virtue signal. Right? I represent a community where the majority of kids would fall in that category. Me and my honourable friends, many of whom represent similar seats now, were here, and we were having those arguments. They were silent, and it is an utter disgrace. I must actually commend the Scottish National Party, because they've actually done the job of an opposition party. They've probed, they've had a debate, they've turned up. And I would say to the Honourable Member for Perth and North Perthshire, even if they do want to leave, I would say to the Honourable Member for Perth and North Perthshire, he might want to shimmy up onto the opposition front bench, because he'd probably be more suitable to there. But to get to the nub of this, I want to talk about some of the wording we've heard today, particularly in the way that the description of those people perhaps who voted to leave the European Union. 70% of my constituents, Mr Deputy Speaker, that did so. And some of the words that, that came to me on the doorstep when I was having those conversations were that I'm being called thick. I'm being told that this decision shouldn't be given to me. I'm being told that I don't know what I'm talking about. And we've heard it today as well, with words like xenophobia and cannon fodder. It is absolutely disgusting. My constituents aren't xenophobes. The constituents of my honourable friends from the Black Country and more widely are not xenophobes. We welcome people from all parts of this world. We built our industrial heritage of welcoming people here. And I take real exception when members opposite accuse my constituents of xenophobia and racism. They're absolutely not. But what they are is proud. They're proud of where they come from. They're proud of the fact that this United Kingdom, a country where, and I'll say it because I'll say it again, a lad from a council house can sit in this chamber as a member of Parliament. Where on earth can we see that? There are few examples. And I stand by those values because it's those values that made me. Now, I will accept, and I will say something, and I say this quite a lot. When it comes to the Union, I lived for a time in Wales. I actually taught myself Welsh and speak it reasonably conversationally. And I was very interested by the contributions from the Right Honourable Lady for Dwyfor Meirionydd and my honourable friend from Brecon and Radnor, because they're right, there is a cultural history that I think sometimes gets forgotten. And I've long advocated that actually one of the things as a union we need to do is to share that diverse culture that we have internally. Because I think kids in England should be learning about the Mabinogi and should be learning about Welsh history and culture. Just like kids in Scotland should. I think kids in Tipton should learn about the history of Scotland equally and come to understand that shared culture and heritage, because I think that is where we've gone wrong. We've built these internal borders, and rather than focus on actually bringing those down internally, we've turned this into this sort of back and forth of, I don't know, this rhetoric back and forth that we've seen today. It's been highlighted today. But what I would say, conscious of time, is this. As I said, 70% of my constituents voted to leave the European Union. They've waited 4 years from this. And actually, they've waited 50 years to be liberated from the official opposition opposite. And we have seen it constantly. We see it locally now. The fourth leader of Sandwell Council in about the same number of years. The revolving door leadership that sees my communities shafted, that sees grown men, when I was canvassing, breaking down in tears because everything they'd been brought up to believe they realised was a lie. That the people that had basically told them their life view that was ingrained in their blood had stabbed them in the back because they said to them, you don't count anymore. And that's what we've heard from the rhetoric today. You don't count. We don't care. We should, and an extension is just reinforcing that. So to conclude my comments, Mr Deputy Speaker, I'd say this. We've got to get this done, because the fact of the matter is, for my communities in Wednesbury, Albury and Tipton, that's what they deserve. Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker.
Thank you.